It's gonna be a good one.
It's gonna be a good one.
Definitely a different type of process.
Cut down or freeze up.
Being a coach's son.
Jackson, of course, they keep retooling. One stone to face, a hit by pitch. Oh my goodness. Hello everyone, welcome inside the Red Earth Production Studios for this edition of YBMcast, powered by Game 7 Baseball, Game7Baseball.com. We have some baseball talk for you. We're sitting in the somewhat cool. I think everybody is sitting in the heat. It's going to be a tough one this week. I know out this weekend, so make sure you're hydrating. And hydrating means before you go out, at least 2 to 3 days, be dunking water and don't just, some advice, don't just, I'm not, physical therapist, but I know this, don't just drink Gatorade.
You can't.
Huh?
You gotta drink water, man.
Exactly.
You gotta drink water.
I mean, you can substitute a little for electrolytes and things like that.
I'm a Pedialyte guy.
Are you a Pedialyte guy?
Yeah, like when I'm feeling down or low energy, like low energy or hot, I usually go like a Pedialyte and then water.
Very good.
And go from there.
Very good.
Gatorade doesn't do great for me.
I'm with you. It just makes me sick.
A lot of sugar.
Makes me sick to my stomach. I like the hydration. I'm trying to remember which one it is.
The ones you can like dissolve the packs in the water. Those are good.
Yeah,
those are good. And
I'll do that over Gatorade or anything like that. So I mean, I guess I think maybe Gatorade. They used to drink pickle juice.
I heard from an umpire that there was one time he was out umping a game in this summer, super hot, and he felt like terrible. Obviously wearing all that gear and everything, and who went to go have lunch or had like packed a lunch or something, and he had a pickle, and he ate the pickle, and after that he felt incredible. Like the rest. So when at my tournament this weekend, I'm gonna bring some pickles because it's gonna be 99 degrees every day.
Give it a shot.
Yeah.
Never know.
Yeah.
Joining me on today's show for Baseball Talk, Diego Soler, Scout Connect. Good to see you, man.
Yeah. It's good to be back in here.
Everybody's running around.
It's that time of year, man.
It is that time of year. And speaking of, we will be Thursday night, Friday, Saturday. Thursday night, we got the Home Run Derby. Bing, bang, boom.
Are you participating in it?
That's a good question. Last night, I do this from time to time.
The hit tracks thing?
Yeah, because I think it's fun.
Sure.
And, I was on the Little League field.
Yeah.
I hit it $120, baby. Let's go.
Was it off a tee or soft top?
Off a tee.
Okay.
Okay. That
Okay.
means feet.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Evo was at least 25 miles an hour. You know what I'm saying, baby?
We have a hit tracks at the barn in Illinois, and we'll mess around with it. We have some pro guys that come in over the winter and do all their training in the sports bar, like pitchers, and sometimes they'll get bored and they'll turn the hit tracks on and they'll go and grab a drop 10 bat and swing off it. I think we had Xander Meath, who went to Belleville East and was a third or second round pick by the Pirates a couple of years ago. Hit a ball like 115 miles an hour with a drop 10 bat this winter. It was pretty cool. It's pretty fun. It's fun to throw back and do that stuff.
Fun.
Yeah,
I liked getting in just to see if I could feel the swing, and I barreled some baseballs.
Sure.
And but they have, speaking of, for the Home Run Derby, our good partners at Prime Sports, working with Game 7 Baseball tomorrow for the Home Run Derby for all these kids from the World Series. Got quite a few coming too. They're giving away a Tucci Milano.
Yeah.
I had one of those in my hands the other night at Prime Sports, and I mean, I'm like, wait, it was a -10, but still,
Sure.
I was just like, I mean, it was like a fly swatter.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was just no weight to it. I was like, and I remember, drop 10s back, and I don't know how many ounces this bat was, but it wasn't very many.
Sure.
And, I don't know what the criteria is anymore, but man, it just was so light in your hand. And I don't know what the ounces were, but that's crazy. I guess you get a 20 ounce or 10 inch or.
Yeah, if it's
or
a drop
whatever.
10, if it's a 31, so it would be 21 ounces.
Ah, goodness.
Yeah. Or obviously 30, 20 ounces.
Yeah,
29,
28.
18,
What is it?
28, 18.
Yeah, something like that. My goodness. It's just kooky, man. Kooky stuff. But we're going to have a lot of fun at the Home Run Derby, Game 7 baseball. The World Series will be out at BMAC on Friday with the 9 and 10-year-olds. Always love that.
Sure.
I think the
Good time, man.
little kids are fun, man.
It's just baseball. Just having fun.
Absolutely. Got some baseball cards we're giving away Saturday. We'll be back out at the WAC. Got 11-year-olds, 13s, and 14s. And then Sunday, of course, Championship Sunday, a couple of semifinal championship game for the 14U live streaming. Looking forward to it. So appreciate Prime Sports. We're going to be doing our Summer Bash series throughout July. Make sure you come out, check it out. We'll have some more stuff coming up. But today on the show, we haven't touched a lot of topics in a while on the show. It's been baseball season,
Sure.
high school, and getting through it. By the way, they finished out. I know we haven't really talked much about Illinois since
Yep.
the championship, and I saw Triad lost.
They did.
And
Nice.
met a young man, Cole Lockwood.
Yeah, from Libertyville.
Yeah,
Yeah.
won the state title.
They did win the state title. Cole Lockwood comes from a family of baseball players. I believe he is the third or the fourth brother. His two older brothers both were good players. One of them is at Valparaiso. I think the other one is going to Valparaiso. Like he's either was a freshman this past year or he's going into his freshman year of college. He can really pitch, man.
Yeah.
It's not like he doesn't have, and all the Lockwoods are the same way. I think the second brother was a position guy, but the older brother was 85, 87, and he could really pitch. And Cole's the same way, like mid 80s fastball, can climb it up to 87, 88, and he throws 4 pitches for strikes. Good player, really good player. Libertyville, state champs, first time ever, loaded squad. And then St. Lawrence took home the 3A. That's who Triad lost to.
Mm-hmm.
They beat Bennett Academy in a private state championship game. So 3 of the 4 state championships or state champions in Illinois were private schools. I think one of the things we talked about was when we did the 1A was if Ottawa Marquette was going to go up to 2A with Father McGivney. They are going to go to 2A. So next year will be the first time that Ottawa Marquette and Father McGivney are not in 1A. So it will open some things up for sure. But it was a great year of Illinois baseball, man. Unfortunately, none of our Southern Illinois 618 or 217 teams took home a state title this year, but I'm sure they'll be back next year. So
I've been enjoying watching the Barker brothers pitch at the PCDL.
Yeah.
They can bring it.
Yeah.
They got some good stuff.
Don't quote me on it. I'm not 100% sure. I think they're headed to Swick next for the fall. I mean, they're interesting because, for those that don't know, Michael and David Barker from O'Fallon, they graduated in 2024, went to Arkansas State, and are now in the portal. They're playing over at the PCDL, which is the Premier Pitching Performance College League over at Carshield. And it's pretty interesting because they're twin brothers, and they're built the same. Obviously, long, lanky, being twins, right?
Yeah.
I think the difference, I could never tell who was who for the longest time.
I ask what their number is, and that's all right.
One of them has a mole on their neck, and that's how I remembered who it was. I can't remember who. I haven't seen those guys in like a year. But it's pretty unique because they're twins. They're identical twins, but they throw differently.
Yeah.
David is more like your 3-quarter, and Michael is more your traditional, I just think it's interesting. Like everything else about them is the same. And then when they pick up a baseball, they do it differently. But they were great. David Barker was a frontline guy when he was in high school. And Michael was kind of a little bit not behind, but just he came into his development later than David did. David was kind of the guy when he was 15, 16, and then by the end of their high school career, they were both upper 80s, like low 90s arms. So 2 talented guys there. I believe they're going to SWIC, so staying home and continuing to add to a SWIC team that was really good this year. So
there you go. Looking for that next step. I think it's interesting. I've enjoyed this PCDL league. And that brings us to the topic. You know, I was reading an article. I like to go through and just look at things and see what's going on around here. Looking at some articles, 16.7 million kids playing baseball and softball in the U.S. according to
it's a lot of people.
MLB. Yeah.
Yeah.
8.9 million kids are participating in some kind of casual basis, which is still a lot of kids.
Sure.
And that's an all-time high. And you know, we're getting ready for the World Series right now. Everybody's playing some ball. It's summer. High school's over summer. The elementary, middle school's kind of winding down. They're heading towards, you know, what's crazy to me is it's already June and end of June.
I'll tell you what,
my goodness.
Middle school, this is whatever. Middle school baseball.
Yeah.
I'm from the northwest burbs of Chicago, and I went to a pretty big middle school. We never even thought about having a middle school baseball team. It is huge in southern Illinois. And I don't know if that's the case over here in Missouri.
Yeah.
But everybody plays middle school baseball. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I think it's cool.
I don't think, because St. Louis, is a different animal.
Yeah.
Because you go to
It's
everywhere else in the state and there's middle school baseball. You have
Yeah.
middle school teams. Now they'll play in tournaments and stuff, but agreed, you know, they have these middle school teams. Now, I think they've done it. I think St. Peter started it. I think they're doing it at Baldwin, where they pull kids from all these club teams and they have a tournament that is their middle school ages and even down into elementary, of where you're going to be going to high school. And,
Sure.
and they have a tournament there,
Yeah.
which I think is cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it kind of gives those kids a little bit, you know, because most of the time all these kids are playing against each other in the summertime.
Sure.
Your teammates in high school, you're playing against each other, and then you come high school. So I think it's cool that they get a chance to play together before they even get to there, which I think is neat.
It just builds part of the culture.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think that's where you see some of these smaller schools are able to be consistently good.
Well, that's a huge thing, and I'll use Edwardsville as an example just because I live there and I'm around it. But I'm sure it's the same in O'Fallon and Troy with Triad, and there's regular communication with Tim Funkhauser, the head coach at Edwardsville, and his 7th and 8th grade coaches at the local middle schools, and they do the same things that the high school does, and they go about it the same way. So those 7th and 8th graders, the junior high kids, the 12, 13, 14-year-olds, they know you start them early, basically, with how we do things at Edwardsville, and they're coached the same way, and they coach the brand of baseball that the high school team plays, so that when they get to high school, it's like, oh yeah, we've done this before. It's not new, and you kind of build that foundation, and it's probably a pretty large part of why those high schools have success.
Yeah,
and the middle, I think. Liberty Middle School, which is there's 2 middle schools in Edwardsville. There's Liberty and Lincoln. I think Liberty was the IHSA middle school junior high state runner up last year or something. And Glenwood, Chatham Glenwood is always the same, and their high school baseball team is always good. And Pleasant Plains Middle School, they won the state championship a couple years ago. Yeah. Their high school team is always good. So there's a correlation there.
Right.
There's a correlation.
I believe that. You watch, we got a chance to go down to Springfield on our winter workout tour. And
for the Willard thing?
Yeah, Willard and
Nixa.
Nixa.
Yeah.
Both of them doing the same thing. Those guys. Coach you said 98% of those kids in those are Nixa kids.
Sure.
There you go. They got a few others. He said, we'll coach them. We don't want to coach them too much. I wonder about this, and this is the thing that's interesting to me. How many of these kids truly want to play college baseball? And I think that's kind of where it starts, because, in the age of youth sports that we're in, I mean, we have all of this And I would say elementary, middle school, that 8U to 14U, and everything is talked about is about college baseball, college. But how many of these kids really even know that they want to do that? They really understand that thought process? Or I would say it's a very little.
Yeah, I think the only conversation you should be having with I'll say junior high, which would include obviously 8, 9, 10, 11, whatever, and younger. The only conversation you should be having with a kid of that age about college baseball is, did you watch the college baseball game on TV?
Did you watch the World Series?
Yeah, because
Right.
I don't think any of those kids at that age level have it. I really want to be a college baseball player. You know why? Because the only thing that those kids care about is having fun and eating ice cream and hanging out with their boys and playing video games and talking to girls or whatever. Like, they're kids.
Yeah.
I think that conversation, like how much do you really want to play college baseball? That starts to kind of come into the conversation when you're 15 and you're 16 and you're 17, and treat the young ones as, let's just play the game to get better, to build a foundation, to develop. I know that's a word that gets thrown around a lot. And then if you really love it, that's how you build like a true love for the game. Then we can take the next step and be like, okay, like, is this real? Is this serious? Do you actually want to do this? And go from there. In
your experience, Diego, in that quest, I find I'm seeing a lot more kids leaving the game
100%
in high school.
Yeah, they get burnt out, man. Like, I mean, I think the word burnt out gets thrown, like that term gets thrown around.
They're catchwords, buzz phrases.
Gets thrown around too loosely, right?
Yeah.
But I think if you take a 12-year-old and you force them to do something, or you run them into the ground, or they play 60, 70, 80 games, and it's like that's a 12-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't make them like something. Like, if they like it, they'll do it. And I think you do see that. Like, I think there's a lot of even kids that play in high school right now that play club ball and do the events and go to showcases and play in these tournaments. I'll be honest, like, I see it all the time. Half the time, half those kids don't even want to be there. They're just there because
it's what we do.
It's what we do. Like, it's or somebody wants them to be there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not good for the game, in my opinion. Like, you can tell at a young age who really likes the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I see kids at the sports barn all the time, the kids that are there every single day. And it's not because, like, their dad wants them, like, drags them to the barn to go hit. They're just in the cage. They're messing around. They got the tee set up. They're hitting with their boys. They'll go in the hit tracks. They'll go on the field and take ground balls or play wall ball up against the wall and throw the ball and field it and keep going. Like, that's what you need. You have to build that. And don't take it any further until you build that, in my opinion.
There you go. Yeah, because we see the amount of games, and I am a proponent. I believe this. I have no problem with these things. Multiple sports as a young kid.
Sure.
If you're playing soccer, you play basketball, you play some football. Depends on, play tennis.
Yeah, it's a good way not to do the same thing over and over and over again. But also, like, that's a real thing. If you play multiple sports, you're going to be more athletic. Like, you're going to build because every sport is different.
Yeah, it is. And you use different muscles, you different patterns.
Your body adapts in different ways.
And I think, so when you come to baseball and what we do sometimes, and I know we have great partners and we want success for what we're doing and how we do. And people say, well, you don't like tournament, you don't like clubs. No, none of this is a negative towards the structures in place in that respect. It's just looking at this from a kid's perspective. When you look at the fact of what's the process here and how do we understand what's going on? Because there's so much angst and you got people yelling and screaming at umpires at 9U ball games with that. I just don't at this point. And, I can look through rose-colored glasses a little bit, even myself, I'm sure I did some of those things as well. And you hope, you wished, maybe you weren't as did the win in a competitive situation? If you're a competitor, I think some of those things always happen to a degree.
Sure.
But how do we take that temperature down? How do we understand, the best case scenario, and understand that you're talking about umpires umpiring 9U ball, that major league umpires miss calls and things like that. So you have all this process, and now it's going to be 100 degrees outside. Yeah. Temperatures up, temperatures keep going up, and we've got kids that are tired.
Sure.
They have played, as you said, 60 games. And I think that's one of the most fascinating things. When I was coaching with club that I had with Drew Prater back a little bit and different things and kids, we talked about maybe 30 games a season.
Yeah.
And that was a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot.
Because for one, if you had 3 pool games, that's 10 tournaments if you play 30 games. Because if you didn't get to if you didn't get out of pool play, you didn't play on Sunday.
Yeah.
It was different than today, where a lot you go on more and things of that nature. Pool structures are a little bit different. So 10 tournaments, man, that's 10 weeks.
Yeah.
That's almost your entire
spring or summer, depending if you're a high school team. Yeah.
Did the kids go to the lake? They wanted to go to the lake. Mom and Dad definitely wanted to go to the lake, and I think Mom and Dad get a little cranky at the end of it because they didn't get to go to the lake.
I think you have to find there has to be there's different levels to it all, in my opinion. Like you're always going to have your quote unquote your high level teams, right? Those are probably the teams that are going to take it a little bit more seriously. They're going to play every weekend. And that's fine. Like if that's the environment that you want to be in and it's competitive and all that, great. And then you're going to have like your quote unquote, your middle level, right? Mm-hmm. Where it's like, maybe it's again, quote unquote, like a second team or a third team. And it's guys that like they want to play, but it's not like at this highest level. And then there's always going to be, the lower level, which is fine too. Because everybody fits into a bucket, right? But I think youth baseball, and you could start at 8 and go all the way to 17U, whatever it is. Like in general, I think we gotta take a step back a little bit with all of it. Like I see guys that are getting run out there, and guys that come to my events, like my showcases and tournaments. Like I'll see a dude that just pitched in my tournament on Sunday, and then we have a showcase on Tuesday, and he's pitching again. It's like, dude, you just threw 95 pitches, man. And in general, too, like we have to put the development, and that word gets thrown around a lot too. And people say it, and I don't, and there is no exact definition for it, right? Like, well, there is like dictionary wise, but development to you can mean different to me, can mean different to him, can mean different to that guy. But the overall development and getting better and all that stuff has to be what the forefront of youth baseball is, in my opinion, whatever, like at whatever level. And I'm not saying don't try to win and don't try to compete, but I played a lot. I played a lot of travel baseball games, and I don't remember winning like every game we won or every game we lost. Now high school's different. Yeah, I remember all the high school games and this and that, but like I'll tell you what, I do remember for my travel tournaments and whatnot, catching 3 games and then going on the mound and pitching, and then pitching and then catching again. And then when my elbow started to hurt, I kind of put 2 and 2 together and be like, okay, that probably wasn't the best thing for me to do, right? And I just think like I unfortunately see a lot of that, and I don't know if it's because and when I say we, I mean the baseball community. Like we get caught up and we're trying to win this tournament because it's a super awesome tournament and I want to hang a banner up and say I won the tournament, or we're not educated enough about that to do stuff like that. But I think when it's youth, especially when it's younger guys, you have to put the development, and the younger they are, the fun and the love of the game, because if you put that in it, they will, like, the kids will get better and they'll have a good time doing it too.
Yeah. Absolutely. You see, okay, Scout Connect, you see a lot of players. You see high-level players. You see players from up and down the
you see everything. It's inevitable.
Right?
You're going to see all of it.
So I would ask you, and I think this is the question at the end of the day, how many of these kids are good enough to play Division I baseball? And now, mind you, here we are.
Half of a percent.
8U to 14U.
Yeah, 0.5%.
Right, because that's the statistic,
Yeah.
right?
Well, it's not, yes, 100%, right? Like, I think the number is not just Division I baseball, but any level of college baseball.
Yeah,
I think it's like 7% of high school athletes.
correct.
So that doesn't count, obviously, the youth, the younger, the 8, 9, whatever.
Mhm.
Take that 7%. I don't know what the actual data is, but take that 7% and say, okay, how many of those guys are Division I baseball players? I would guess that number goes down to like 1. And
Yeah,
now take all that information and factor it in that everybody's roster is now down to 34. Now that number goes down even more. So like all that is to say, it's never been harder to play college baseball in general, right? That 7%.
Mhm.
That 7% now becomes, excuse me, even more exclusive because what the Division I roster cut down does is it has a trickle down effect on everything else, right? Like all those dudes that got cut, they go in the portal. And then they go in the portal and they filter down to the Division IIs and the NAIAs and the junior colleges. Well, when those guys come from there to this level, now somebody at this level has to get cut, right?
Yeah.
Now they go down to this level. And who does that impact? The high school kids, obviously.
Yeah.
And everybody else. It just makes it tougher to play. So it has never been harder, at least in the last 10 years, has never been harder to play college baseball, but especially to play Division I baseball. If you're a high schooler.
And I think this is the important thing about this and the conversations that got to be had at this point. And how do we deal with this moving forward? Because club baseball, good, bad, or indifferent, not a knock, it's just what it is, has been built around sending that kid to play college baseball on a scholarship.
Sure.
Okay. So we have all of these things. We have all of this stuff. And you hear the negative, you hear this, you hear the bashing, you hear these things. But yet, that's one of the things that I think, where's the solution? What's the solution? Does anybody want to talk about solutions and how we start changing the culture and talking in a different way? Because you speak specifically about these things. How does a young athlete begin to understand what that means? You know, at 12, 13, 14, what does that mean to be recruited? They have no clue. Parents
And they don't need to have a clue, in my opinion.
Right?
Not at that age level.
And that's what it got to. And I thought that was the first, I think, cog in it, which I loved, that eighth graders are no longer being
Me too. Agreed.
recruited.
Recruited.
That was ridiculous. You don't know.
Yeah.
You just don't know. I
Yeah.
don't care.
Yeah.
Don't know. It's hard enough. It's hard enough with a 16-year-old, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're teenagers, man. They got a lot going on. I think it comes down to this, is the mentality of the club baseball, what it is, what it's about, is to get to be able to send a player to go play collegiately on a scholarship, right?
Yeah.
I think the new mentality has to be less about the club and more about the player, and really like, how badly do you actually want to play college baseball? Because you talk to a lot of kids, they're like D1 or bust, D1 or bust, D1 or bust. I want to play at a Division I school because my boys are going there. Like, I play on a club team and it's got 10 Division I commits, right? Got something in my throat. And like, you're not going to see that. You will. Your higher level guys will, right? Like, you look at the 20, 25, 30 best players in Missouri, right? All those kids will probably still be Division I commits, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that list is only going to keep on getting shorter. And now it has to be, okay, do you actually want to play collegiately, or do you want to just be able to put on Twitter that you've announced your commitment to a school that has a big name logo, right? Because, like, if you actually really want to play collegiately, Now that's going to become being okay with going to a junior college or being okay with going to a Division II school, tearing it up for 2 years, hitting the portal, and then going to a Division I school. You know what I mean? Like, how badly do you actually want to get in the college game?
Yeah.
And that's the conversation that has to be had.
Well,
First-class service. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, well, to me, I think that's one of the big things too, because I put this question out we were talking about before we started. What does it take to be a Division I athlete?
Sure.
And you said, well, that's a loaded question.
Yeah, I think it is. Because there is to me, just in my opinion, and I don't know it all, I just have an opinion. There is a difference.
Your thoughts.
Correct. There is a difference between being a Division I athlete and being a Division I baseball player. And I think the difference between that is a Division I athlete, like we talk about athlete, to me, that's somebody that has the tools, the talent, the outputs that allow them to be able to play at the Division I level. Because regardless of what it is or not, to play at the Division I level, you have to have some sort of tools, right? You can't be me, who was 5'10", 200 pounds, and threw 82 miles an hour, no matter how many times I got Division III hitters out and whatever. That does not mean that I was good enough to play at a Division I level. I didn't have Division I athlete level tools. I didn't have the velocity. I couldn't run. I couldn't hit at that level. I couldn't defend at that level. Whatever the tool is, to me, that's what a Division I athlete is. You have the capability to produce at an output that puts you at that level. Mm-hmm. A Division I baseball player now is a guy that maybe he does have those tools, right? But blends it with the ability to play the game at that level. And what I mean by that is run the bases, have the ability to be in the strike zone, have the instincts to be in the game, like an advanced knowledge of the game that allows you to play at that level when maybe you are lacking a tool. Maybe you don't hit the ball super hard, but you can really pick it, right? And you're always in the right spot. And you really run the bases. Like your jump on your secondary lead is really good. Or like when a guy goes dirt ball, you see down angle, you're at second base right away. Now you just turn to walk into a double or a single into a double. Or you're always in the right spot on cuts. Or if you're a catcher, everything stays in front of you. And like you can blend that with tools, right? Like defense is a tool. But I have seen plenty of guys that are Division I athletes that have the tools, but they can't play. You know what I mean? It's a 6'4" runner. It's a guy that's a 97 arm from the outfield. He takes BP and huge bat speed and huge exit velos, but he can't hit a breaking ball. Yeah. You know what I mean? And before, I think, like 5, 6, 7 years ago, you saw guys like that out of high school especially are Division I players. Because if I'm a coach, I'm looking at that guy, and I think if I can fix him, like if I can teach him how to hit a breaking ball, or at least be good enough, like to maybe it's like,
at least he can foul it off enough to get a fastball.
Or like you see it enough where you auto take breaking ball and hit fastballs until you have 2 strikes, right? Yeah. Then that guy can be really good for me. But now I think because the pool is becoming shorter, man, that dude that's got the crazy tools, like you got to go to junior college for 2 years and prove that you can post and show up and perform. And then we take a chance on you. Yeah. Or you go to a Division II school or a mid-major school that is willing to take a chance. And now I think the coaches and the schools, and I could be wrong, but I think it's all going back and they are reverting to, okay, how can I win? Like, what are the guys that are going to help me win? And I think you're going to see that on the mound, especially. Don't get me wrong. Your upper echelon, your 99 percentiles, your SECs, your ACCs, whatever, you're still going to see guys that are 94, 97 and maybe don't throw a whole lot of strikes all the time, but it's super high carry fastball and can really spin a breaking ball and get dudes out. At your lower levels, and even at your baseline, like power 4 levels, I would not be surprised if you started to see a lot of dudes that were 88, 92, but throw 3 pitches for strikes and can go both sides of the plate, can establish both sides of the plate, can get both sides of the plate out, because I think all these guys are done watching guys that throw 98 walk everybody, and you don't win games.
Right.
And just look at how many guys are in the portal right now that are 95 plus, but they don't throw any strike. You know what I mean?
And two, not only that, their pitchability of that, and then they're going to get you into the 5th and 6th inning.
Yeah. You can live with a guy that's 96, 98 for an inning.
Right.
And because then his mark now, unless they're spraying it all over the place the whole time, right? But your margin for error in 1 inning is way smaller than in 5.
Yes.
Right? So, hey, go blow it out for an inning. Just be around the strike zone because regardless of whatever, 96 miles an hour is pretty hard to hit.
That's effectively wild.
Yeah. But that to me is the difference between what's a Division I athlete and what's a Division I baseball player.
Yeah.
And I think this side is going to become more important than this side.
There's a lot of kids with athleticism, but does it always translate to being good at something?
And that's why I think baseball is the hardest sport.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be biased, right? But
sure.
You'd be a freak athlete. You'd run a 4.40 in football and be just fine. You know what I mean? Like even if you don't have a full renowned instinct and development and idea of like what's going on in front of you. I mean, if you run a 4.4 and you can just run past guys, you'll be fine, right? Yeah. Or if you're a 6'10" basketball player with a 45-inch vert and you can dunk all over people, you're going to be okay.
I think one of the things that is underrated or understated, we'll put it that way. Understated is the amount of people that don't really know how good you have to play just to play Division II baseball.
Any level. It's not just Division II. Like Division II, right? It's the next step, quote unquote, next step down from Division I. Any level of college baseball. You're always going to have your not so great teams, right? You are. But I mean, I played against guys in division. There's a guy throwing for the Cardinals. He went to Aurora, which was in the conference that I was in. I mean, he was like 6'8" and was low 9s at a Division III, and he's in the big leagues now. Chris Roycroft, I think is his name. Like anywhere you look, any level, regardless is if it's NAIA D3, NJCAA D3, NJCAA D2, whatever it is, like there's going to be good baseball. It's hard. It's hard to get on the field.
That's where I was going. I was just going to name them all because you got Division II. NAIA, in my opinion, is very similar to Division II baseball.
Yeah, I mean, like your best NAIA schools are loaded, and it's because it's way easier to get into an NAIA school than it is an NCAA school.
Yeah,
the academic requirements are not as high.
Because they're private schools.
Correct. They can do whatever they want.
Their criteria is theirs.
Yep.
And they're not beholden to the NC2A. Then you have Division III. Division III, it depends. I don't know a lot about Division III. I really don't.
Yeah. So I played Division III, and I was an average Division III baseball player.
Okay.
Like that was my talent level. My talent level was your average, like your 8th reliever, like not a guy that was, that didn't have that was an all conference guy, never stood out. But like, I mean, I played against dudes that were mid to upper 80s from the left side, or upper 8s, low 9s from the right side, or guys that hit 440. I mean, and that was 7 years ago, like 8 years ago, or whatever it was. Like, there's good baseball in Division III. Now, the only difference is obviously there's no academic or athletic money that goes into it. There's no athletic scholarship. So, like, if you're going to be a D3 guy, you got to really want it. Like you got to really want to play the game because you're not getting paid for it. You might be getting some good academic money, right?
Right.
And there is some like the baseball coach goes and tells the school, hey, I need you to give this guy more money off because we want him to come here. You know what I mean? Right. But it's a lot of private schools. It's a lot of
Division III NAIA,
high academic institutions, and but there's still good baseball.
WashU, man.
Yeah, WashU is one of the best D3 teams in the country.
Right.
And there are D3 guys every year that they go in the portal and they go to a Division I school, or they go to a high-level Division II school, and they go and they're dudes right away. Like it happens every year. There's good baseball everywhere, and it's only going to keep getting better with the trickle down And if you're a high school baseball player and you really want to play, like the only thing that you love, you've loved baseball forever, you really want to play, you want an opportunity to be a college baseball player, I cannot tell you enough, don't shut any level down. And hey, if you don't want to be a D3 guy, like you just really don't want to, then that's fine. Go be a student, go to Mizzou, go have a good time, be with your boys, whatever.
Yeah.
But like if you really want to play the game, understand that now I had this described to me perfectly. It's like a pond and you got to jump in and swim, man, because that's the only way it is now. And like if you think, listen, like the ability for college coaches with the transfer portal now and all the data we have available, the ability for somebody to find a good player at a Division II school, an NAI school, Division III school is very easy. Like it's never been easier with synergy and the data they have available to them. So as terrible as it is to say for some D2s and some D3s, if you go out and you get a guy and you show up as a freshman and you post and you play every day and your data is good and whatever, like you just bounce. Just go in the portal and someone's going to find you. Like that's what it is. And the unfortunate reality is like I'll talk to some Division II schools because we have a lot in this area.
Oh yeah.
Right? With the GLVC
and
being
quality.
and great schools, like great programs. Like in general, like not just the GLVC schools, right? But like I have had some schools tell me like, I don't care if that kid comes here for 2 years and he leaves because we got 2 great years out of him. Yeah. And now that guy's earned the right to go get in the portal and get his whatever and get his money. And that's just what it is now. That's what it is.
Oh, get his money. Well,
I mean, seriously.
You look at, I think the one young man that comes to mind, because when all the roster stuff went, Trey Joswikowski.
Yeah. Grant Hollister was the same
Grant
way.
Hollister, right?
Central Missouri.
I love that because in Central Missouri is going to be a powerhouse again. They're for time. They recruit well.
Good every year.
And you got those guys. They just finished second
in the country.
And if you don't know about Tampa University,
they're like the Yankees of Division II baseball.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
When Justin was starting to look at different schools, he looked around. He's like, he put that on a list, Tampa, because it's Florida.
Florida, good weather.
Right. Well, he had went down there to Baseball Factory for a training deal. It was good. He enjoyed it, and it helped him. And so he was like Tampa. Let's try. I said, all right, let's look at this. I'm looking this, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I look at their record. I said, did you see that? Look at their schedule. Look who they're playing.
Yeah.
I said, like, no, that's not you. I mean, and he would know. He would laugh and say, yeah, I know. But I mean, you're looking at, they were, I think, 52-3 that year.
Yeah.
I was like, how is a college team that good?
Oh, yeah.
They are incredible.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to understand, and this is where, okay, so what is recruiting criteria? And that's where I think we've failed a lot within this whole process. I know for a fact that if you're looking at Division I, SEC, ACC, Big 12, who's the other one? Whatever it is.
Big Ten.
They're looking for a particular type, body type, weight, height. All of those things are all these measurables. Now, are there outliers always? Absolutely. It's true. But for the most part, they start there and they start looking, as you said, they can see what you're doing. They can see the scattering reports. They can see the measurables. They can see that. And that is a baseline for kids to really understand where you're at in the process, isn't it?
Yeah. It goes back to the athlete baseball player thing. Like, listen, if you're going to play at Arkansas, okay, you can't really be like a 7'6" runner in the 60 and play at Arkansas, right? Like you have to have the tools to play at that level. And then after that, it goes to, okay, you have the tools. Now can you play the game?
Right.
And to be honest with you, like that every program is different. Mm-hmm. And this is something I have learned in having conversations with people. Everybody is very different. Like I will sit and I'll watch a high school kid and I'll be like, man, that kid's a really good baseball player.
Yeah.
Like I think this kid could play at X school, right? And then I will have a conversation with that school and I'll be like, hey, what do you think about this guy? And that coach will be like, yeah, I don't think he's a fit for us. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, what are you talking about, man? Like, that's a really good baseball player. Like, he's probably too good to play for you guys. But then, like, you don't factor in, okay, well, that kid's a right-handed hitter, and the right field wall at our field is 290, so we just get a bunch of lefties that can pull the ball in the air and hit homers, right? Or
It's true.
Or that guy runs a 7.460, and he's not very good down the line, home to first, and our whole lineup is 6'8", like 6'8" guys, because that's our style, right? We love to run, we love to bunt, we love to do the little things, all those things. So I think that's where we can kind of get a little bit in trouble with the measurables and stuff, is because like everyone's different. All the schools are different. Now, yes, to play at some level,
Philosophy, right?
yeah, what they want to do.
Yeah.
And to play at some level, you have to have tools, right? You do. You have to have the tools that are the baseline tools for the conference, for the level that you want to play at. But then when you individually break it down, that's what makes it so important. And that's why, like, none of these schools just recruit off measurables. They got to go see the guy play, because now they have to go, okay, yes, that's like a check mark.
Yeah,
But
that's
now-
the first check mark.
Now do you have everything else
Right.
that fits us?
That's what I'm saying. It's a process for them. They first check that, or else the Scout Connect, PBR, Perfect Game, they wouldn't even exist.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So those, and long before that, football, the recruiting services, they've been around
Sure.
for a long time. It just used to be on video.
Yep. Yep. That's the first thing. It's like, okay, like, do you have that check mark? Now let's figure it out. Right?
Yes.
And listen, like, that's not to say that you have to have crazy good tools to be a good baseball player. You don't. Like, you could be 5'4" and not have a high exit velo. Maybe you don't run very well, but man, that kid's a grinder. Like, how many
I'm
times
just out playing all five guys ahead of you.
Listen, and I think this player that I'm about to mention is a perfect fit where he went to college, right? But when I would watch Nick Alagna play in high school ball, I would sit there and be like, yeah,
some best hands.
that's a really good baseball player. Now, do you know what Nick Alagna at a Division I level looks like? Nolan Sissom.
Yes.
And it's because Nolan Sissom probably runs a little better. He's got more juice. He's left-handed. Defensively, it's probably pretty similar. And then that's the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know it's 2-4 Zumwalt West guys, right? And they're both really good baseball players. But that's the difference between what one bucket looks like and the other. Is one guy was a little undersized, right? Maybe he didn't have the highest exit velo or like the biggest in-game juice, but he never struck out. He was always a tough at-bat. You could play him at third. You could play him at second. You could play him at short. You could probably play him in the outfield. Probably play him at first base if you wanted to. And he'd be fine. And he did everything right.
Yeah, he did.
And then you take that dude and you make him a little stronger and you give him a little bit more juice. He's got more arm strength, probably a little bit better lateral agility. And now that guy's an SEC commit and one of the best players in the area. That's the difference to me. That's what two really good guys, two really good baseball players, two guys that do a lot of the same thing well. One guy does it a little bit louder than the other, and that's why he fits into this bucket. Not to say that this one's any bad, but that's just the difference to me.
That's interesting. I think, but these are things that I think have to be talked about. Parents got to understand, what they're dealing with. And I don't know if we're getting some of the honest conversations in this respect.
Unfortunately, I don't think so either. I think we have some things that, people say things and they promise things and do this and you'll get there. It's just, that's not real. It's not realistic for anything in life. But if you boil it down to like baseball and recruiting, like, you can't promise anybody anything, man. Like, you got to go take it.
If you want to play, if you get it into high school and you start the process and you really have a love for it and you care about getting to the next level and into the next level, the goal, you always set a goal, but you have to think about the present.
Yep.
And I think that's what we don't do. We spend so much time talking about the next level that we forget about where we're at. We're playing 12U baseball today.
Yeah.
Let's just enjoy that and be fun and have some fun, because none of these kids are going to get recruited today.
Nope.
They're not going to be playing high. You don't even know if they're going to make their high school baseball team.
Yeah.
And are they good enough to do that? So when you get to that 13, 14U level, being present means, okay, where are you going to school? Well, I'm going to Edwardsville. Well, good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to play at Francis Howell. Good luck.
Yeah.
What are your tools? And are we having those conversations to prepare those kids what it's going to take to make an Edwardsville, to make a Belleville, what is it, East or West?
Both of them.
Both of them.
Yeah.
Do you have the tools to make these teams? And I don't think and if we start there and really teach those kids how to do those types of things, then that sets them in motion for understanding what those tools are. After you get to that spot, you've made that. Now you're continuing to develop, and what's the tool for the next spot? And I think that's where we have to start that resetting that process a little bit.
Yeah, and I think we have lost in translation what it means to have tools. And what I mean by that is 5, 6, 7 years ago, the game of baseball was granted the ability to measure tools. Not measure tools in the sense of like running and throwing, right? But measure tools in the sense that, okay, now we can set up a device behind home plate. And when we take batting practice, the device can tell us how far I hit the ball, how hard I hit the ball, what level I impacted the ball at, right? But that turned, as it does with all kids, right? That shiny object turned into, okay, now what's my exit velo? Like, what's the highest exit velo, right? Yeah. And again, I'm not saying it doesn't matter, because it does,
yes,
right?
I get it.
At the end of the day, if you hit the baseball hard and you hit it within a certain amount of launch angle or whatever, you have a higher chance of getting a hit than if you don't hit the ball hard. It's just common sense. And people have been saying that for years, right? That's why you preach, get on the barrel, get on the barrel, get on the barrel, because if you hit the ball hard, you're probably going to have more success than someone that doesn't hit the ball as hard as you, right? But it can't just be all about that. And like, I see so many guys sell out for exit velo and this and all that. And we have to kind of take the tools that are important and take the measurables that are important and kind of reel them back, right? Like, I could think of a couple guys here recently in the last couple weeks at my showcases and my events or whatever. They take awesome rounds of BP, like awesome, like balanced, polished, all over the barrel. Like they're going that way, they're going that way, they're going that way. Everything's a line drive. Like when they swing, they're not falling over the plate. It's repeatable, it's quiet, it's simple. You know what the first question when they get out of the box is?
What was my exit velo?
And then when you tell them, oh, it was 92, they're like, oh man, that sucks.
No, it doesn't.
Well, man, you're 16 and you just took an awesome round of BP. And by the way, your swing, because of how repeatable it is and how quiet it is and how balanced it is, your swing is going to play way better in game than the guy that's just taking G-hacks the whole time and falling over, that the second you change speeds, he's done for, right? And I think like that conversation needs to be had more, because like the people see the big shiny number. I want to get 95. I want to get 100. And you should want to be able to hit the ball as hard as you can, because at the end of the day, if you hit the ball hard, you're going to have success. But it's about how you do it. And it's the same thing with velocity.
I've been privy to some of these numbers, and you see the kid and what you're talking about. All of a sudden you have this big number. It's like 97, and you're like, ooh, and everybody goes, but then the other
are like 78. And
the
also
other
like
10 or that. So I'm like, well, wait a minute, dude.
Yeah. It's a one-off.
Your swing is wrong.
Yeah. Or you'll get it where it's like 94, 95, 96, but every ball is right into the ground.
Right.
Well, what does that get? Like, what does that do any good if you hit the ball on the ground?
I want to see a barrel line drive.
Yeah. Yeah.
How many times you get in the sweet spot?
Yeah. And I don't know, man. Like, I think all the tools that we have, all the capabilities we have to measure things and all the training, it's all awesome. It's great. It allows
really
you
is.
As a coach, as an evaluator, to be able to take knowledge down that you wouldn't be able to see with your eyes.
Right now, we're to the point where parents, coaches, we got to start working a lot more together. People having good quality conversations about where their kids are at. Quit worrying if you're playing on the AAA team or the AA team or the single A team. Go play baseball, play to the best of your ability, enjoy the sport. When you're in practice, focus.
Yep.
Be intentional, and pay attention to what the coaches are saying to you. And if you have a coach that says, hey, I think you ought to look at some Division II schools if you're in the high school and your recruiting process, and he says you should look at some NAI in Division II, pay attention.
Yep. It's unfortunate because, like there are some guys that, they don't want to play collegiately unless it's at a Division I school. That's fine. Like if that's your path and you're like, I'm either going to play at a D1 or bust or I'm done. Like I'm not going to play. Okay, then you're probably not going to play, right? But I have had conversations with high school kids in the past that are like, hey man, like what do you got going for you? What's your recruiting look like? And this was before all of this, right? And they're like, oh well, I got X school, Y school, Z school, and it's a bunch of D2s and junior colleges, right? And I'm like, oh, that's pretty good. And they're like, no, like I was kind of hoping I'll just throw like Mizzou. I was hoping Mizzou or Illinois would come call me and do this. And it's like, well, man, like you're my height and you're 84, 86. That's probably not going to happen. You know what I mean? So then it comes down to our central topic of like, how bad do you want it? And by the way, like, listen, like playing at Swick or playing at John A. Logan or playing at Jeffco or Crowder or whatever is just only going to keep getting harder.
Yeah.
Like you got to be a guy. Yeah. You got to be a guy.
Recruiting criteria is not, I think, an exact science.
No. Everyone's different.
Because and the things you alluded to today with some of these things, I think that's what makes it not an exact science.
Yeah.
And somebody can fool you. Somebody can say surprise. I shouldn't say fool you, but surprise you. And you're like, well, I didn't see that guy there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it happens all the time. Like I will see guys come through and where they commit, and I'm like, really? And I'll listen, I have no problem saying this. The very first one was Charlie Wortham. When Charlie Wortham committed to Mississippi State, I remember I was talking to somebody on the phone, and I was like, wow, I can't believe he's going to Mississippi State. Like, what am I missing? And then, I saw him a couple more times. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's pretty good and whatever. And then, like, I was around him a good amount, and I saw him a good amount in the fall. And I'm like, okay, yeah, like, that kid's really good. Like, he belongs at that level. And that stuff happens all the time. And great, like, good for the player, but also, like, the understanding of that these things, like, they happen, and like just go where you're going to play. And
yes,
go where you're going to play. Get
playing time. One of the funnest conversations I had was with Brady Nolan.
Yeah.
Festus, outfielder, put up video game numbers this past year, senior year.
Yeah, good player. Toolsy.
Yes,
he's got all the tools.
Heading to Crowder.
Yeah.
Why? Because he told me, he goes, I really want to play at Arkansas.
Yeah.
So he goes, I'm going to go there and keep playing.
Yeah.
So he had a plan and an understanding of how to work to try and accomplish that goal.
Sure.
And knew, they haven't come calm, they haven't this and whatnot. But that to me right there was exactly kind of what we're talking about on that level, on that situation.
Yeah.
An understanding of that.
And he's cool with it. I am sure Brady Nolan, when he was 15 years old, was like, man, I'm going to Arkansas, right? And then as he got older and he did all the events and he kind of realized, like, okay, well, I'm probably not going to Arkansas out of high school. How do I get to Arkansas, right? And that's the pathway, is go to a junior college or go somewhere where you're going to play. Because here's the thing. I don't know very many schools that recruit guys that don't get at-bats or don't pitch. You know what I mean? Unless you're injured or whatnot. And it's different for arms because, everybody needs pitchers. And you can get on a mound and you can throw in a college league, or you could throw X amount of bullpens, and if your stuff is good, like people will take a chance on you, right?
Yeah.
But man, if you don't got at bats, like that's tough. That's tough to get recruited to play at the next level if there's not a sample size of at bats behind you. Because, by the way, there's like 500 dudes in the portal that have 200 at bats, and I know what those guys are. I don't know what you are, and we only got 34 spots to take a chance on somebody. Give me the guy that has played 200, 300, 400 at bats worth that hit 300 with 35 pumps or whatever in over 2-3 seasons over this dude that I know nothing about.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to play, then you're not going to play. It's probably over.
That's just the way it is, folks. It's just the way it is.
It's unfortunate, but that is how it is.
It's sport.
Yeah.
That's competition. See, I think we love, we forget, there's the competition of the game itself, and you go in, you play and whatnot. But every day you're competing against that guy to be able to play in that spot.
And unfortunately now it's not unfortunate, because it's the game.
Just the way it is.
But the landscape of it is, not only are you competing against this guy that's on your team, but you're also competing against basically everybody else.
Yes.
Because everybody, even at the Power 4 level, even in the SEC, the ACC, like the cream of the crop, like the best teams in the country, everyone's a junior college now. Everyone's a minor league system. Like, so you're competing against this guy on your team, and that guy on your team, and this guy over at Arkansas, and this guy over at Tennessee Tech, and this guy over at Memphis. Like, it's all just one big level of competition.
It's going to be fun. We'll see what happens. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. Appreciate Diego for jumping in with this and bringing his insights, what he's learned. Honest conversations. That's what it's got to be. And I think, let's get back to enjoying the baseball game, going out, let the kids have some fun, enjoy it. They'll get it'll become business soon enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all that. But if you like it, please subscribe, hit the notification bell. I should say it. Man, I said that. Dinger. It's a notification bell. Same thing. Get you notifications for upcoming episodes just like this. I messed all that up. But anyway, please subscribe. That helps support our channel. We do appreciate it. Helps the algorithm, all those things, gets it shared out more. We appreciate it very much if you will do that. We'll bring you more stuff like this. Love the conversations. Diego, tell them where they can find you, buddy.
Twitter or Instagram at Scout Connect BB. BB for baseball.
Not basketball.
Not yet.
Exactly. Oh, there you go. Little teaser right there. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. We do appreciate it. We'll see you at the ballpark. If you're going to be with Game 7, we'll see you this weekend. Where are you at this weekend?
We have our 16U Summer Series tournament over at Triad High School and McKendree University. We got 9 teams. We've ran 2 tournaments already this summer that were really, really good. Actually, our 15U tournament was awesome.
Good.
And 16U this weekend should be pretty good. I'm really looking forward to our July tournaments, to be honest, as our 17s. And then we end the summer with the St. Louis Cup, which is our 16s and 17s tournament, which is basically going to be really good. It's like all the best teams in St. Louis.
Sweet.
So I'm pumped for it.
I love that.
Yeah, it'll be cool.
There you go, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Everybody have a great day in the Lord. All you pitchers.
Throw strikes, man.
Hitters, might as well hit it out of the park. Ain't nobody there to catch it. We'll see y'all next time.